Good evening. Can everyone hear me? Just drop a quick line in the chat box if you're okay. Perfect. We just have a few more people logging on right now. I can see them coming into the attendee list. So maybe we'll just give about another 30 seconds or so just until they all get fully connected here. So. Okay, good evening, and on behalf of the entire District A12 Global Membership Team, I'd like to thank you all for taking the time out tonight to learn a little bit more about attracting members into your clubs. I'm Chris Lewis, and I'm the District A12 Global Membership Team Coordinator. On the call tonight, helping me with monitoring questions in the chat box is scheduled to be Dave Durant and Nancy Watt Durant, but they're in Hilton Head right now, and their internet connection is pretty weak. So Kathy Dowse from the Global Leadership Team has jumped right in and has offered to give me some help and support in looking after the chat box and so on. Dave and Nancy are on the Global Membership Team. Dave is the recruitment specialist and Nancy is the mentoring specialist. And as I said, Past District Governor Kathy is the Global Leadership Team coordinator here in District A12. So on the webinar tonight, we have participants not only from our own district, but we also have the MDA GMT coordinator for Western Ontario, OJ Walura. And we're also hoping to have the MDA Global Leadership Team coordinator for Eastern Ontario, Eleanor Caldwell, on the call. But we have right now we have about 11 logging in. Another one's coming on right now, but we had 20, I believe, pre-register to attend, which is excellent for a Sunday night. So let's quickly review the interface you'll see tonight on the webinar for those of you who may not have participated in a GoToWebinar previously. To the left is the GoToWebinar Viewer through which you'll see your presentation, and to the right is the GoToWebinar control panel where you can raise your hand, ask questions, and select your audio mode. The attendee control panel will collapse automatically when it's not in use, and to keep it open, just click on the View menu and uncheck the Auto Hide control panel. On this screen, you'll see the deeper detail about the control panel. That arrow to the top left, a little red arrow, will shrink the control panel to the side. I prefer to keep mine in front all the time, so by clicking View and Auto Hide will make it much better for you. You can, in the bottom of this box, you can raise your hand to ask a question, in which case you'll be unmuted by either Kathy or Dave or Nan, and you can speak, or if you prefer, you can just type your questions and comments into the chat box, and we'll get to you as soon as we can. So the objectives for tonight's webinar is we're first going to learn the importance of growing membership within the association, and we're going to review the steps that you can take back in your club to attract members into your club. And then we're going to review some of the resources from Lions Clubs International that will help you strengthen your membership. So let's get started. We're going to start off with a review of some statistics, and it's not good news. Over the past 5 years here in District A12, our membership has declined by 177, or an average of 35 Lions per year. And over this past 5-year period, our district has also lost 3 clubs. And if you look at some of those statistics, you can see we've been fairly consistent every year in bringing in new members, but every year we've been losing more than we've been gaining. And if this were a bank account and we were spending more than we were bringing in as income, the bank manager, I'm sure, would not be pleased. So we're going to open up the floor to a few comments. So why do we want more members? And why should we be concerned with that minus 177 or minus 35? You can raise your hand to be unmuted, or you can enter your thoughts in the chat box. Tim says new ideas, new projects, and more hands, more service. Oh, it's nice to see Dave Durant's been able to arrive. He says he's here at last. I think he's on a dial-up internet connection. So, are there any other reasons why we would want more members? Gary Chandler says so many service groups are dying, and we need to grow to stay alive. Yeah, you're very, very right, Gary. Survival is a big part of it too. If we want to continue to be here to serve into the future, we need to bring more people into our association. OJ has a great comment. New members continue our legacy. Yeah, we have a great legacy of 100 years of service to our community and to the world. And wouldn't it be a shame to let that disappear? Any other reasons why we want more members into our clubs? The reason why we want more members, because more members equals more leaders. Yeah, if we want our organization to grow and be successful, we need more leaders in our clubs. We need more leaders in our districts. And the only way we can get more leaders is if we have more people to choose from and to help develop. Also, more creativity. If we keep doing things the same way all the time, we're going to get pretty much the same results all the time. And the world's a changing place, so I think we need people with new ideas, new creativity, and Tim already mentioned about new ideas. So having more members creates more creativity and innovation. How about more help? Yeah, the busier our clubs get and the more active our clubs get, we need a little bit more help to make our projects and activities run a little bit more efficiently. So yeah, more members definitely makes the job easier. But as we've heard before, most important reason for having more members in our clubs is that we can do more service. That's really the reason why we're here, is more service and being able to do more and more for our communities. And if we don't have people in our clubs, that's going to slow down or stop. And then the people that really suffer from that are the people in our communities. So this webinar is all about attracting more members. So let's talk about what do we do first? How do we attract more members? I'm going to put it out to the floor again. What do you think is the first thing we do when we want to attract more members? Tim says free golf balls. Yep. If you're a golfer, I think that might attract you into the club. You can just raise your hand, or you can type in your chat questions and comments. What's the very first step we do when we start to recruit members? Gary says visibility. Yeah, I think that's pretty big. Yeah, you need to be visible in your community so people know you exist. Tim says invite them to a service activity. That's always a good idea. Service is definitely what drives our organization, so service activities are good starting points. Randy says plan. Yeah, planning is pretty important. We're talking a lot tonight about planning and how to execute a plan effectively for recruitment. Tim says ask one. Yeah, asking people to join is a pretty important thing to do first. Is that the very first thing you should do? I believe the very first thing we do when we want to attract people in our clubs is look in the mirror. When you invite people over to the house for dinner, what do? Do you vacuum the living room? Do you make sure the dishes are all done? Do you clean the bathroom? That's exactly the same thing we need to do when we're considering attracting members into our clubs. Take a look at your club first and determine if it would be one that would be attractive to a prospective member. Because there's no point in bringing someone new into our association and then have them leave very quickly thereafter. So how can we assess if our club is ready to grow? The very first thing we want to consider is meeting quality. I was at a zone meeting the other night, and our zone chair actually talked a lot about the importance of having a quality meeting to make your people in the club very happy. I think he might have seen my notes from my webinar, but it was a very true point. When you want to assess meeting quality, you have to be honest. Look at your club and look at your meeting the way an outsider might perceive it. Are you happy with your own meetings? Is there room for any improvement? In a little bit later on in the webinar, we're going to be talking about some resources you can use to assess the quality of your meetings. But when talking about your meeting quality, consider the day that you meet, the time that you meet, or how often you meet. Often clubs meet on the same day and time because they've always met on the same day or time. Perhaps you need to talk to your club members and find out, is this day or time for your meetings still working? Is it the best time to be meeting for your club members? Does your club meeting have an agenda? Does your president work with an agenda? If not, you might want to put things like that into place before you start going out to recruit people to join your club. Does that agenda have a purpose, or does your meeting have a purpose? Often we meet just for the sake of meeting, when really every meeting needs to have a purpose. It needs to be to discussing service projects, it might be to plan projects, it might be to have a social meeting, or it might be in order to have an interesting guest speaker with a learning component. So, there are lots of reasons and purposes for meetings. So making sure that your meetings have a purpose is pretty useful to make your meetings highly effective. What about the structure of your meetings? What happens at your meetings? Sometimes we do a lot of things at our meetings, again, because we've been doing them for 20 or 30 or 40 years. But maybe the structure of a meeting isn't something that would attract people. Structure could be the formality of a meeting. Maybe some of the protocol that has always happened at a club meeting might not be attractive to a new prospective member. So really be honest with yourself about whether those things exist in your current meetings. And finally, maybe take a look at transparency. Do your meetings have regular financial reports? Is there transparent leadership where the leadership in your club is really working for the members and for your community in a transparent manner, or are things kind of hidden to the rest of the club members? If you don't have transparency in your club, people may not be attracted to it and may not want to be a part of your organization if it thinks it's a little bit secretive. So again, let's open it up to the floor. Is there anything else about meeting quality and about meetings in general that you think might be things that you need to assess before you start to recruit? You can just enter your comments in the chat box. Tim says he's thinking. OJ says, are the meetings fun and to the point and therefore not long? Yeah, I think a lot of that, people like to have a start point and an end point to their meetings. So I think if you have meetings that don't have an end, where you never know when you're going to get out, I think that maybe makes a meeting unattractive to a prospective member. And a lot of that has to do, I think, with having an effective agenda as well. So some other areas that you might want to look at your club before you start recruiting is maybe the club culture. And club culture is, does your club have an attitude about it or a culture about it where the members are receptive to change? Or is your club one which is very regimented and set in their own way? Clubs that are receptive to change are probably more likely to bring more people in who are willing to share their ideas and interests with the rest of the club. Whereas a club that is less receptive to change may not be attractive to people who want to provide their ideas and input. So a club being receptive to change is a pretty important aspect to look at when you're trying to see if your club is attractive. Listening. Does your club listen? Do members in your club have a sort of culture of talking to each other and listening to the feedback that they're giving? Clubs that have a good, strong basis of communication in that way will be very successful at attracting members into it, because that's a culture that many people want to be a part of. Take a look to see if your club is creative. Does your club feel like it's trying different things and is willing to experiment with projects and activities and so on, knowing that sometimes things can be better if you try something different and something new? And I think the really big one is your club friendly and is it inclusive? Do you have cliques in your club, or do people sit all over the place and sit with different people and interact with different people? Clubs need to be friendly, because really, would you want to join a club that was unfriendly? Absolutely not. So those are definitely things about club culture that I think are really important to making your club attractive to a prospective member. OJ says, readily receptive to exploring the interests of their members, new projects, and so on. Yeah, that's true, because a club which is friendly, inclusive, and listening care about their members, and they care about the interests their members have and about their personal lives and everything else, and know that they're an integral part of a club. So really listening to the people in your club and being inclusive and involving them in everything that goes on will really make a club more attractive to an outsider. Gary Chandler has a great comment. He says, I believe it's the members' club, not mine, so I encourage input from all. Gary, that's really important, because when you do that, that shows that your club is receptive to change, it listens, and it's friendly and inclusive. And I think when you make comments like that, that shows that your club will attract members, because they want to be a part of that as well. So finally, member satisfaction. Take a look at your clubs. Are your members having a worthwhile service experience? Do they find the projects you do in your club rewarding? Because if a person is in your club and the projects aren't interesting and they aren't exciting and they're not satisfying to people, it's going to be hard to go out and try to sell those projects to other people. So taking a look at the projects and activities you do in your club and maybe making sure that they are rewarding and they are worthwhile can make a big difference in making your club attractive to others. And what about leadership rotation and having an opportunity to grow as a leader? You know, a lot of times people want to join clubs because they want their voice to be heard. They want to be able to have an opportunity to grow and develop. And if you have a club where it's the same president for 15 years or the same secretary for life, you've taken some opportunities for people to grow and develop. And again, that whole sort of aspect of transparency we talked about a little bit earlier, you know, ends up disappearing a little bit. And maybe your club would not be attractive if they know it's the same person doing the same job forever. So take a look if there's opportunities within your club to rotate and change leadership on a regular basis. And then finally, taking a look at the concept of communication within your club. Do the members communicate effectively with each other? Can they have good conversations face-to-face with their members, or is it always a battle? Do they communicate positively with each other? Can they disagree, but in a positive manner at the club? Is there a culture of communication where you have email, you have Facebook, or you have newsletters, whatever way your club communicates? Is there a way that your club can communicate to each other so it's not those sort of hidden cliques within a club? Those are all some great ideas and great tips for looking at your club before you ever consider starting a recruitment campaign. Do we miss anything about the clubs? Anything else that we could be doing or looking at before we start to invite people or start to go out to target people to join our club? You can just enter your comments in the chat box. Tim says membership assessment. Yeah, you're really assessing the membership, and we're going to talk about some tools you can use for that. OJ says planning. Some people want to know what we're doing in the future. Yeah, you know, it's not just the here and now, but it says we want to build a playground in this community next year, and we need help to do it. Bob Murray says identify an unmet need in your community. Those are always great ways to make sure that your club is now at a point where it can be receptive to inviting people in. Finding that unmet need and then finding people in your community to meet it. You know, if I had to summarize the various things you do before you start going out to recruit competition, consider refurbishing your club before you start recruiting. We have some tools and resources that Lions Clubs International has provided us that can really help us to refurbish our club before we start to recruit. We have the Your Club, Your Way document, which really allows you to look at some different ways of running meetings in a different manner than what we've always done. And you can download that from Lions Clubs International website. And in one of the handouts, in the handout panel, if you don't already have it, is a GMT online resource document, which has links to the various sections on the Lions Clubs International website relating to membership, and some of these tools and resources are available there too. So I would encourage you, if you haven't already downloaded the handout, to take a copy from the control panel. Tim says it's an awesome document. It really is. It really gets you thinking and gives you tips for how to improve or change parts of your meeting to suit the needs of your members. The Blueprint for a Stronger Club gives you lots of resources as well to make your club a little bit stronger. Satisfying your members, doing some project planning and making goals come to life within your club. That's also available in that GMT online resource document. And one of the best ways to make sure that your club is receptive to growth is the Club Quality Initiative. It was formerly known as the Club Excellence Process, and it's a great way to really look at how your club operates from a satisfaction standpoint from your members, and then whether it meets the needs of your community. So I would encourage you to reach out to your global membership team or your global leadership team to discuss the Club Quality Initiative. And a lot of the things we've already talked about so far come to light in the Membership Satisfaction Guide, which really gives you ways to look at your club members and find out ways to satisfy them. So we've talked about refurbishing your club first. So now it's time to look at creating a recruitment plan. And I think the first starting point in your recruitment plan, once you've fixed some of the things in your club, once you've cleaned the bathroom and did the dishes and vacuumed the living room, is the importance of targets. And the importance of having recruitment targets is pretty simple. If you were to put on a blindfold and aimlessly throw darts, you might never hit the bullseye, let alone the dartboard. But I'm pretty confident if you take off the blindfold and you aim at the target, you're much more likely to be successful. You might not hit the bullseye, but at least you might hit the dartboard. So 2 targets to consider when developing your plan is a target demographic and a target area. So let's take a look at a couple of these points right now. A target demographic is simply just a group of people that you might want to target to join a club. So if you're looking at your club, you might feel that there's an opportunity to target women, for example. So what could you do to attract more women into your club? Let's put it out to you and see if you have any ideas on how to attract more women into your club. I know some people say that to attract more women, you might want to consider having more women-friendly projects. Projects that are related to perhaps diseases that predominantly strike women. Or perhaps you might want to have projects or activities that relate to women and families. But as you can see, there are several demographics that you can target when trying to develop a recruitment plan. One of the benefits of targeting a demographic is it allows you to focus your energy on a specific area rather than just throwing darts at an entire dartboard and hoping something sticks. Some of the demographics: women, family members. To recruit family members, perhaps a strategy could be to go to your existing members and see if they have women or spouses and children that might like to join. Tim says making family nights at your club might be a great way to encourage family to come. in the LCI Cub program, which gives activities and projects for young people, children generally of Lions, so that they don't have to have babysitters when they're at their club meetings. It's a great way to involve them in what's going on at your meetings. Trying to recruit young people. Retirees are a great demographic to target. Many of these people retire earlier now than they used to, and they're still healthy and active and are looking for something to fill their time now that they're not working. So targeting retirees and retiree groups may be a great opportunity to try to recruit some people into your club. And consider professionals. When a new doctor moves into town, don't let the Rotary Club scoop them. Go after them, especially individuals like optometrists and so on that have a lot of the same beliefs that Lions do about sight and vision. So anyone think of any other demographics we might be able to attract if we just targeted them? College students, Tim says. Yeah, looking after the people at places like Georgian College and in university are great ways to attract them and hopefully get them to join a club. Young people are very active and volunteering, and we just have to direct them and encourage them to join clubs in our area. Some other things we want to look at too are target areas. When we want to target and recruit and attract people into our clubs, we have to decide where are we going to recruit them. The obvious area is your existing community, your existing town, your existing neighborhood. But there's a lot of times we miss out on some other areas too. There may be areas that are not currently served by a Lions Club, but are just outside your community. The suburbs, perhaps, that don't have a Lions Club, that could begin an area where you can recruit and attract people. So look outside your own area at other spots to perhaps recruit people. Some of the things that Tim said about college students and campus clubs might be an area that you might want to target. Businesses might be another area to target people from. Many businesses, would love to have their employees community-minded. So perhaps you can grab a group of people from one particular employer. And consider other community groups. If we're already working with an organization such as soccer or baseball or hockey, perhaps there are some people in those organizations that would like to help us do the things that we do in order to help those groups and help us in our projects and service work that we do. Groups like Probus, which is a social group for mostly retired people, is a great opportunity to grab people who might want a little bit more service bent to what they do in their retirement. So consider other community groups and staying involved and liaising with those groups are great ways to stay connected and perhaps scoop the odd member. Are there other areas that we can do research from or target to recruit from? Tim says the Barrie Library has a database for average salaries, how many people per household, religious beliefs, and so on. That might be great information that you can use to target areas that might fit nicely with your club. But it's all about research and really making your plan and not just thinking that it has to be one member asking another. So let's look at some strategies we can use to recruit members into our club. Targeted invitations. The Tiny Township Lions Club does a wonderful open house, but their open house isn't just having a club meeting with some displays and the doors are wide open. Anybody can come in. The Tiny Township Lions send invitations to specific people that they want to become part of their club. They either have skills that they feel their club is missing, and so they'll send out 15, 20, 25 invitations to a special night. They do a wonderful job at this open house and talking about what Lions do and why we make a difference in our community. Every year they've been doing this, and I think they've probably been doing it for 5 or 6 years now. They always seem to get 4 or 5 new members out of it. So, and many of those members stay. So it's a great way. And I think if you're considering doing an open house, targeting the invitations can be very important. Brochures are a great way to consider attracting members into your club. So having brochures at all your projects can make a big difference in really getting your message out, your publicity out to the clubs or the other individuals in your area. Posters and putting posters up in areas that have a lot of your target demographic in, post offices, restaurants, libraries, and so on, where a lot of the people that you're trying to target may frequent, can really help. Advertising, generally, we have to pay. Sometimes we have to pay for advertising in order to recruit. So sometimes we have to actually put newspaper ads in saying we're looking for members, and this is why we need you to help us, because we have great projects and we need more people to help. Some clubs have been very successful with Bring a Friend Night, where perhaps they'll provide free dinner and so on if you bring a friend to a meeting. I personally believe the best place to bring a friend to is a service activity, because they really get a feel for the hands-on work that we do and the difference we make on people, and the happiness that we make people get from the service that we do. But but anytime you expose a person to Lions is a good opportunity to really put a good spin on it. Tim comments that some other great ways is through online and social media. Yeah, using Facebook to connect with the public. The more you talk to the public about what you do and why you make a difference, the more likely people are going to be attracted to your organization, want to become a part of it. He says he's always amazed at the number of clubs that don't use Facebook as a way to interact and connect with people. So we refurbished our club. We took a look at some target areas that we want to recruit from. We've made our plan. Now we have to execute the plan. And the only way you're going to get a plan to be successful is to get buy-in from the entire club. You need to really take the plan that you create and communicate it to every member of the club. You have to be able to tell them that we need to bring more members into our club because we want to do more service. And you communicate exactly what you're planning on doing and what you need and what help you need from the members in the club as well. Because every member of the club has a vested interest in making your club bigger and stronger. Solicit help from your zone chairperson or your global membership team if need be to help you create a plan and help communicate it effectively. Develop a budget. A lot of the recruitment activities we do in our clubs are not free. And usually you need to spend some money to attract those members. And then implement the plan. Start to make the plan happen. Follow up on the prospects and the leads and the people that you're targeting to join your club. Because some of your club members might be really good at giving names of prospects and targeted and people that you might want to target, but they might be really bad at closing the sale. So try to make sure you're utilizing the strengths of everybody within your club. And then finally, as you're executing the plan, make sure that the membership committee reports at every meeting on the status of the plan and what's going on within the club with retention and recruitment. Keep the talk about membership and recruiting alive at every meeting. I feel far too many membership chair people don't report regularly at club meetings. They really need to be on the agenda at every board meeting and every club meeting. If they don't, the whole concept of the membership and recruitment plan will fall by the wayside. Really keep it alive by making sure there's a good, solid membership report at every meeting. So let's review a few more of the resources that you can use to really make a difference in your recruitment plan. One of the best resources for you in documents is the Just Ask Recruiting Guide. It gives you a lot of great ideas on how to target people in different areas and different demographics, and also how to have your members effectively ask and invite people to join. Again, you can find that in the GMT resource document that's in the handouts, or you can just search for ME300 on the Lions Clubs International website. If your club doesn't have a club membership chair or membership committee, this may actually be probably your very first step before you refurbish the club, is refurbish the committee. Clubs need to have strong membership committees because they're such an important part of making a club strong. So use the Club Membership Chairperson's Guide to help train and develop your club membership chair. We also have regional workshops here in District A12 at the end of November, so I would encourage your club membership chairs to visit and attend those workshops so they get a better feeling for what their job involves and how to make their club even stronger. Are there other resources that you think might be of value to you as you create your plan? You can just enter your comments in the chat box. Tim says he's going to the membership workshop. That's excellent. So I would encourage for the membership workshops to have membership chairs, presidents, plus members of the membership committee attend. Bob says, in 20 plus years in Lions, the club has only had 1 year when a membership committee has met. Are there any others on tonight with the same experience? You know, that's true. If you have a membership committee, isn't it a pretty important job? You know, isn't it just as important as the secretary and the treasurer and all the other things that happen in your club, is keeping the members of your club engaged and recruiting to bring more people into the club. So to have a club membership committee that has only met once in 20 years is probably not the best way to really grow and expand a club. So we had some objectives that we wanted to meet tonight. Oh, we just have a few more comments coming in here. OJ says he just finished 2 membership workshops in A15 this past week. He had good attendance and exchange of ideas. Yeah, I think that's, you know, I think really getting the membership committees out and getting them trained and getting them interacting with other membership committee chairs, I think is a pretty great way to build their toolbox so that they can be more effective in your club. Gary Chandler has been taking some Lions University courses, which he found very helpful. Yeah, the Lions University has some great courses that can really help you develop as a membership chairperson, but as a club member, and can give you some tips and ideas to make better projects, to do some planning, and to avoid some of the conflicts and so on that might happen in clubs that make your club perhaps a little less attractive to other members. So we had some objectives for this webinar tonight, and the very first objective was to learn the importance of membership and why membership is so critical. I think we really hit that, and really the most important part of membership is it's about service. It's not about getting someone to do the heavy lifting. It's not about being able to make your life a little bit easier. It's about really expanding the service reach of your club and allowing your club to do more to make your community a better place to live. So that's probably the most important aspect of membership. We also discussed some of the steps to developing a recruitment plan and making sure that the very first step is looking at your club and making sure that your club is ripe and ready to recruit for. There's no point bringing people into a club which is a little bit dysfunctional and is just struggling to survive, when maybe you should fix some of the issues first in the club before you start bringing more people in. And we reviewed some of the resources that Lions Clubs International provides to help you develop your club, to strengthen the satisfaction levels, and to really start setting an effective membership growth plan. So Tim just made a comment. He said, every member should have a polished 30-second elevator speech about their experiences within your local club. A lot of times if you go to a club member and ask them, what do they do in Lions? They'll say things like, we barbecue, or we sell raffle tickets, or whatever. And really what we do in Lions is we make people's lives better. We make our communities better. And that's the kind of message we really want to encourage our club members to have when they're out talking to people about what Lions do, is talking about the people we help and the vision screening and the Lions Quest programs and all the other activities that we do. It's about really driving home the message that service is what we do. Some of the other things we do, like barbecues and so on, is how we raise money so that we can do service. But for the most part, it's all about service. So I think having a great 30-second elevator speech about the service activities and service projects your club does can make a big, big difference. So we covered actually a fair amount tonight on this little webinar. Does anyone have any final questions or final comments about anything relating to either satisfying or refurbing your club, or some of the ways that you can target audiences in order to recruit them into your club? You can either raise your hand to be unmuted, or you can just type your comments into the chat box. Tim is thinking again. Tim says that zone chair roles to help promote or train new officers before they take office. Yeah, I think zone chairs, really helping new officers passing on the information from one person to another will help them be successful, and that'll make a club really, really much stronger. And when a club is stronger, it's definitely more attractive to other members. And Cassie just sent out a message to everyone saying, consider having your club do the club quality initiative to really have a good look at the management of their club. You know, and even if you don't do the full club quality initiative, just looking at things like the membership satisfaction guide to even just target and look at a little area of the club that you think maybe needs some support or some help, and some extra feedback on how you're doing. You don't have to do a full club quality initiative. You can just even do little pieces of it as well if need be. So. OJ says a rebuilding certified guiding lion process is another great tool for club use. Yeah, if a club's in a little bit shaky situation, they've had excessive membership drops, or their club officers are a little bit weak administratively, then using the rebuilding guiding lion to help support that club for a little bit can be a great way to help that club get on their feet enough in order that they can then begin to grow. Dave Durant says, this is a while back, I must have missed it in the chat, but he was talking about former members' nights are a good source of new members. I do really think the rebuilding guiding lion is very underutilized in a lot of cases. Sometimes I think clubs are afraid to reach out and say they need some help. But having a rebuilding guiding lion available who has the tools and the skills in order to help a club succeed is great. So. Tim says community exposure with joint ventures with Rotary or other service clubs as they present themselves. Yeah. Other community groups are great resources to partner with. First off, it takes a little bit of the pressure and work off of your own club, but allows you to learn from each other, and we're all doing the same thing. It doesn't matter whether you have a big L on your shirt or a wheel. We're all doing the same stuff. We're making our communities better. So working with these other leaders is a great way to grow as an individual, and also raises, I think, the profile of Lions so that it becomes more attractive to prospective members. Tim says another key that's missing in many clubs is recognizing jobs well done. He's very right. I always believe that one of the very first things you should put on your agenda at the start of a meeting, before you do O Canada, before you do any of that other stuff, is some appreciation and recognition for something that's gone well. Because if you start a meeting off positive, all the other stuff that happens sometimes in the middle of the meeting that maybe is less positive will not seem nearly as important. So yeah, definitely recognizing jobs well done and saying thank you to people is pretty important to make your club attractive to other people. And that's a real culture change, making sure we do that. There's lots of comments coming through the chat box here about using media releases, letting the community know that we're out there. Yeah, Lions Clubs International makes those community press releases simple. You just pull them up, change your name, and send them out. And it generally costs you nothing. And sometimes the newspapers put the information in, or they'll reach out to you for some more information about your club. Gary Chandler says, yeah, he uses Lions Store and quite often looks at different awards and recognitions at the Lions Store online to see if there's anything he can use to help recognize and offer appreciation to his members. That's excellent. Well, we've almost come to the end of our last webinar for 2015. Our next GMT-related webinar will be coming up on January 10th, 2016 at 7:30 p.m. And it's all about Project Refresh. Project Refresh was a survey of former Lions and Lions who are not Lions about their experiences as a Lion and what they perceive about Lions. So it'll be a great discussion about the statistics as to why some people don't join Lions or why some people left and what could convince us to bring some of those people back into our organization. So it'll be a great webinar. Dave Durant and I will be presenting that on January 10th. And then on April 3rd, we have the More Service Equals More Hands webinar, which will be perfect because it's just about a month before our annual District A12 Lions Day of Service, where it'll be able to have a discussion about different service projects we can conduct on the day of service and how those service projects can help us bring more people in. I'll be sending registration links out to everyone. They're up already, but most people probably won't register yet since it is so far away. But I would really encourage you to visit and attend those webinars and share the links when you get them with other people in your club and so on, because the more the merrier and the more input we get. So I'd like to thank all of you tonight for joining in and offering some great feedback and some interaction and some comments about the content. I'd really like to thank Cassie Doust and Dave Durant for all their help on the manning the chat box and giving me a hand with the behind the scenes stuff of the webinar. When you exit the webinar, there will be a short survey, so please consider filling it out. It really helps the global membership team make webinars and training better for you into the future. Don't forget to download your handouts and your certificate of participation for participating in tonight's webinar. I look forward to seeing you around the district as we travel, and hopefully we'll see many of you at our membership workshops at the end of November. I'd like to thank those from outside our district, especially you, OJ, for sitting in and providing some input to the webinar. That's always appreciated. And I'd like to thank you all again. So I'll be signing off, and don't forget to complete your survey. Good night.